This is third lecture in numerical series on Coulomb's law. So let us move to the next type of questions which are asked about Coulomb's law, and that is, the question is based on equilibrium. And what do we mean by equilibrium? Equilibrium means a point where the charge or any particle experiences net zero force. For longer bodies, for extended bodies, the torque also gets involved, but here we are talking about only point objects, and hence only net force equals to zero will mean that the particle or the body is in equilibrium. So let's start with this question. Suppose we have a system of two charges, small q and 4q, and we are being asked where should a capital Q be placed so that capital Q experiences a net zero force, or so that capital Q may remain in equilibrium. Such a variety of questions are asked. This capital Q is a charge, and we have to find the position where if the capital Q is placed, it will experience a net zero force. So we have three regions in which we can keep the particle. We can keep it in this region, or in this region. Let us denote it by region 1, region 2 and region 3. In region 1, if we keep the charge, and since there is no sign given in either of the charge, let us assume that all of them are positive. So if we keep in region 1, if we keep capital Q in region 1, we can see clearly that the capital Q will experience the two forces in the same direction, and hence net force here on capital Q cannot be zero. So we cannot keep capital Q in this region. Similarly, if we keep in region 3, capital Q will experience the two forces in the same direction, and hence net force again will not be zero, and so here also capital Q cannot be in equilibrium. So finally we are left with only one region, and that is region 2, where if we keep capital Q, the small q will apply force in this direction and 4q will apply force in this direction. Hence here there is a chance of getting capital Q, net force on capital Q becoming zero. Suppose that we draw it again just to find out the exact position Q, 4q, and we have kept capital Q here. Now suppose this is x, and if the total separation between small q and 4q is given as suppose a, then this is a minus x. Now what we have to do? We have to find net force on capital Q and equate it to 0. Or simply, we can we can see clearly that the force is opposite in direction. The small q is applying force in this direction and 4q is applying force in this direction. So simply we can write the expression for two forces and equate them. F1 equals to F2, and since they are acting in opposite direction, so net force becomes 0 automatically. F1 can be written as K capital Q small q by x square, and F2 can be written as K capital Q 4 times of K capital Q small q by a minus x whole square. Clearly K capital Q small q cancels out, and we get a minus x whole square equals to 4x square. If we find the square root of both the sides, we get a minus x equals to 2x, and hence x equals to, so we get 3x equals to a, and x comes out to be a by 3. So if we keep this capital Q at a distance a by 3 from small q or 2a by 3 from 4q, we will find that net force on capital Q becomes 0. So this is one kind of question which is asked. You must practice on such types of question and you will become perfect on it. Next, coming to the next type, kind of the same variety, Q minus 4q, and now let us find out where we can put capital Q. Again the similar question, where should the capital Q be placed? for which capital Q may remain in equilibrium. So for such kind of question, again region 1, region 2 and region 3. Capital Q, since no sign here, so let us assume that it is positive. Capital Q, the sign of capital Q is not given, so let us assume that it is positive. And now if we put the capital Q here in the first region, we can see that it will be repelled by the plus Q charge and it will be attracted by minus 4Q charge. So there is a chance of getting net force 0. Similarly, in third region also, it is repelled by small q charge and it is attracted by minus 4Q charge. Again, there is a chance of getting net force equals to 0. But in region 2, there is no chance of getting net force 0 because it is again repelled by Q, attracted by minus 4Q. Both forces are in same direction. So such a situation is not possible, and hence we can simply cut this condition. Now let us see 1 and 3. See, suppose the force applied by plus Q is assumed to be F1 and the force applied by minus 4Q is assumed to be F2. Here also force applied by plus Q is assumed to be F1 and force applied by minus 4Q is assumed to be F2. Then see here, this is a very important point, that in region 1 we can have F1 equal to F2 in magnitude, but region 2, in region 2 we can never have F1 equals to F2. There is very important point. Why? Because here F2 is being applied by 4Q, which is more in magnitude, as well as it is closer to the point. So charge is also large and the distance is small, which makes F2 always greater than F1, and hence in region 3 also we can never have the equilibrium point, and hence only equilibrium point is obtained in region 1. So we will keep the charge only in region 1. Again redrawing Q minus 4Q and then keeping the charge in region 1, capital Q, at distance x, and assuming the separation between two charges, two given charges as A, we can write this as A plus x. And in the same way as we found the value of x, here also we can find the value of x by equating F1 and F2. Since we know that they are opposite in direction, so net force obviously becomes 0. So now it is your task to find out exactly the value of x and comment in the comment section below what will be the value of x for which the capital Q will remain in equilibrium. Now we come to the other part of the question based on equilibrium again. But before going into that, let us summarize what we learned here. Suppose we have Q1 and Q2. These are like charges, whether negative or positive. Then you will get equilibrium point only in region 1. Here is the point where in this region we will get equilibrium point. Similarly, if we have Q1 and minus Q2, or maybe opposite, maybe minus Q1 and plus Q2, in such cases we will get always equilibrium point in region 1 or region 3. Here we were getting equilibrium point in region 2, but if the charges are opposite in nature, then we will get equilibrium point in region 1 or region 3. And in which part we will get the equilibrium point, that will be decided which charge has lower magnitude. If Q1 has lower magnitude, then we will have our equilibrium point in region 1. But if Q2 has lower magnitude, then we will have our equilibrium point in region 3. This is how we decide, and we can find the answers to these type of questions very easily. Now we move to the other type of questions on equilibrium. Suppose we are being asked a different kind of question, and the question is, suppose we have small q, and we have capital Q here, and now we are being asked what should be relation between small q, capital Q and small q, for which both small q and capital Q, both small q's and capital Q remain in equilibrium. This is a different kind of question which is asked, and we will be dealing with such kind of questions now. This is very important question. Now we are being asked not about equilibrium of one point, but now we are being asked about equilibrium for entire system. Instead of writing so much, we could have equivalently written the question as what should be relation between capital Q and small q for which the entire system remains in equilibrium. So we are being asked now, because both the q's should remain in equilibrium as well as capital Q should remain in equilibrium. So entire system should be in equilibrium, and this is a by 2 and this is a by 2. So if such a kind of questions are asked, how we will answer? Let us see there. See, again I am trying the question: small q and capital Q. Now see, this is very important question. One point must be clear here, that we don't know what is the sign of capital Q and small q, because that is the kind of relation we want to establish. Maybe both the charges are positive and this is negative. Maybe all the three charges are positive. That we don't know, even if the sign is not given. But we will have to find out what is the relation between small q and capital Q. So presently we don't know what is the sign of small q, what is the sign of capital Q. Keeping this thing in mind, let us try to solve the question: small q and capital Q. Since capital Q is kept at exactly in the middle of small q and small q, we know clearly that the net force on capital Q will be 0. If this F1 is the force applied by this Q, and this F2 is the force applied by this Q, and since it is in the middle point, the F1 must be equal to F2, because charges are equal, this separation is equal. So capital Q is always in equilibrium. Whatever be the relation between small q capital Q, doesn't matter. Capital Q always remains in equilibrium. Now the question is, what about small q's? Now we have to establish the relation for which small q also remains in equilibrium. If we establish the relation for any small q, it will automatically bring the other small q in equilibrium, because with respect to this capital Q, both the small q's are identical, and hence let us let us establish the relation between small q and capital Q by bringing any one of the small q's in equilibrium. So suppose the small q is applying force in this direction F1, and this capital Q is applying this force which is F2. From the figure we can see clearly that if such a situation exists, suppose both the forces are in same direction, then net force on small q cannot be 0. So from here you can already clearly see that capital Q must be opposite sign of small q for bringing small q in equilibrium. But that will come automatically from the equation. So first write down that since the two forces has to bring the small q in equilibrium, so let us write the sum of two forces should be 0. F1 is the force applied by small q, and we will write it as k q square by a square. That is the separation between both the small q's. Plus F2 is the force applied by capital Q. We will write it as k capital Q small q by a by 2 whole square, that is equals to 0. So clearly we can see that bringing a k common and a square common, we will have q, also q as common, 1 q as common, q plus, here we will have a square by 4, and if we bring 4 on the top, it becomes q plus 4q equals to 0. So on solving this, we get small q must be equal to minus 4 capital Q for bringing the entire system in equilibrium. So what do we understand from here? That the two charges, small q and capital Q, must be of opposite sign, and the magnitude of this capital Q has to be 1/4 of the charge on small q magnitude wise, and sign must be opposite so that entire system remains in equilibrium. Such types of questions may be asked not only about linear systems but also about triangular systems. Suppose we have small q's on the vertices of an equilateral triangle whose side length is a, and on the center we have a charge capital Q. Now we are asked about the same question: what should be the relation between capital Q and small q for which the entire system is in equilibrium? Again, because of symmetry, and capital Q is kept at the center of the triangle, and hence capital Q is always in equilibrium. Capital Q is always in equilibrium. So now we have to establish only the equilibrium of small q, and since all the small q's are identical with respect to capital Q, we will have to establish only equilibrium of any one of the small q's. So let us choose this small q and establish its equilibrium. This small q will apply force given by F1. This small q will apply force given by F2, and this capital Q will apply force given by F3. Clearly we can see that F1 and F2 should have equal magnitude because charges are same and separation is also same, and that F1 is given by k q square by a square. By simple geometry we know that it is equals to a by root 3. The separation between centroid and the vertex of an equilateral triangle. So if we write F3, this F3 will be equal to k capital Q small q by a square by 3, which comes in the numerator. So F3 is this and F1 is that. F3, F1. Now F1 and F2 are both equal to F. F1 and F2 both are equal to F. So, and they have an angle equals to 60 degree between them. Since they are equal forces, equal vectors separated by angle 60 degree, so the resultant is along the angular bisector, and the magnitude is given by root 3f, which we have already discussed in first part of the numerical series. Again, the two forces root 3f and f3. Root 3f is the resultant of f1 and f2. These two are in same direction, so if we add them, we will get the net force. And what we have to do is to bring the net force equals to 0. To put net force equals to 0. So what we can write, f3 plus root 3f equals to 0. What is f3? So f3 is 3 times k capital Q small q by a square plus root 3 times f is k q square by a square. Sorry, it is square, equals to 0. And hence, if we cancel k, we take out common and it will not be 0. Similarly, q cancels out A square cancels out. What do we get? We get root 3q equals to minus 3 capital Q, or simply small q equals to minus root 3 capital Q. So this is the relation between small q and capital Q for which the entire system remains in equilibrium. So such types of questions are asked about equilibrium. Such types of questions may be asked about taking other geometries also, but obviously if you learn the concept, if you know the concept, you can solve in similar fashion. So here we end this third lecture. We will see more numericals on Coulomb's law in the next lecture.